We are kicking off our first series of B Corp interviews, and I'm really excited about this category because it is one of those that is taking care of the community and sustainability so simultaneously. And we're introducing right now Mercedes from Trivento. Mercedes, please tell us a little bit about Trivento.
Hi, how are you? Okay, Trivento, it's a winery in Mendoza. It's placed in one of the main regions that is Maipú. We also have 12 vineyards in the best regions of Mendoza to cultivate grape. And it's a young winery for what Mendoza has we have 26 years here in Mendoza, and there are many wineries with 100 years or something like that. But in this year, we have become very important for the industry, and we have became sorry, we have become reference in export and also in sustainability.
Fantastic. And from the standpoint of a historical, you are indeed at 29 years old, very, very young as far as a winery plays into your region in particular. Um, but you're also pushing the envelope and becoming one of those modern points of view, modern perspectives on what a winery should be today. And that I love so much. I recently read a press release about Trivento introducing a white Malbec. And I'm like, I have never heard of a white Malbec in my life. What is this? So
No,
please make sure and send me one so I can share what a white Malbec is. Oh, it's right there. Oh
here
my
actually,
goodness.
because this is a very innovative product because it's wine Malbec. It's great flavor. That is the most important thing in a wine. But I have it here because it also has a social impact. When we decided to introduce something that was innovative and we knew that it was going to have a lot of presence in the media and all that, we decided, okay, we have to make a very good product, very innovative, that represents Malbec in another way because we are experts on Malbec, so uh, we have the knowledge to do something with this kind of innovations, and we said, okay, but it has to have something else, and it has a social impact with this wine. We are financing, sorry, scholarships for children here in Mendoza and in Argentina. So every
Wow.
time that someone buys this product, that is great and it's going to be a great experience. It also contributes for children to have a better education.
That is beautiful. So this is once again another social impact where you are taking the lead, but you're doing it by turning the wine world a little bit on its ear because we're all so comfortable with the red Malbec and now there is a white. So everybody get in your cars and drive to your nearest store and see if you can find that white Malbec. I can't wait to taste it and learn more about the process.
We will
Okay.
send some for you.
So Maipo is such a storied region. And it's one of those regions that when I think of Maipo, I think of 100 years plus, as you alluded to earlier, because it's a very well established region. But your company, again, being young and pushing the envelope, really taking a community leadership in the community role. I'd love to hear about how the organization was inspired to become a B Corp and what steps did you need to take to achieve certification?
Since the beginning, Trivento already has this sustainability. There was not the name of sustainability at that moment, but this social conscious and also environmental conscious. So since the beginning, we start having a lot of things, important things as drip irrigation in the vineyard and trying to be as efficient as we could in the wine process, and also being always looking for what our employees needed and how we could help. So that was in the DNA of the company.
Wow.
While the years went by, we were like improving all these kind of practices. And what happens with B Corp is that we saw that we were already doing a lot of things that we had just to put it in order, and maybe to look for and more ambitious objectives. But we had when we decided to become a B Corp was because we had already had a lot of things going on, and we found in this B Corp certification a tool. What is the most important thing for us for this certification? It's a tool for us to measure all these practices that we were been developing for a while, a tool for measuring all those, and also find in the ones that we should do it like better and make a planification. That was
Absolutely.
the main.
So you've been
We
a
were already working with the environment, with our. Sorry, the connection is.
No, I think there's a little bit of a delay too between our continents. Okay, so you've been a B Corp since 2021. And I'm wondering every year, and one of the keys that you mentioned is in anything that's sustainable is the measurement. So consumers need to understand out there that things are being measured, they're always being improved, because without constant improvement of a B Corp or anybody who claims to be sustainable, you are not sustainable unless you're constantly measuring and then reducing your impact on the planet and increasing your impact on the community. So I since 2021 or 2020, you've been doing this, the impact and improvement from not only from the sustainability side, but also your impact on the community. And so I'd love to hear a little bit. Now, you said this was in your company's DNA, and that's a phenomenal thing to hear. The first time that I've ever heard it expressed that way. So kudos to you and the founders for creating something that is that impactful and part and parcel of the cellular makeup of the organization. Can you give us some ideas of the examples of how your company has implemented practices demonstrating your commitment to the social and environmental responsibilities?
Okay, for the environment, starting in that pillar, for us, we are in Mendoza is a desert. It's have turned into an oasis because of the irrigation. So everything regarding to water, it's quite important. That's why since the beginning we have drip irrigation, but that was not enough in order to make an efficient use of water. So after having this drip irrigation, we are now in a path of a precise irrigation, in which we have meteorological stations in all our vineyards. We make soil studies, and we also make some other trials on the plant in order to understand how much water does the plant really need, and in what moment does it need it. Because some years ago we had this drip irrigation that has an efficiency of 95% comparing with surface irrigation, so that's a lot of water saving. But we were irrigating without enough information. Now we have a person that are all the time trying to understand the system between the plant, the climate, and the soil, because every soil is different, every plant is different if you have a Malbec or a Cabernet. So in this way, we are also making this multifactorial analysis in order to know how much water is precise for the plant. And in some vineyards that were used to irrigate, for example, with 7,000 cubic meters per year per hectare, Now we are irrigating them with 4,000.
Wow.
And very, this can be all the years because it, of course, depends on the climate, but we can find that we are just giving the plant the water that is needed. And for Mendoza, it's quite important because we are being through a water emergency for the last 10 years. So that's quite important. Regarding to climate change, that is another thing very important. We have measured our carbon footprint since 2018. We have solar panels in our roof. Actually, we have the biggest solar panels plant in the industry here in Mendoza.
Wow. Okay, that's
We also
pretty impactful. So can you tell us, like, it covers your entire roof? Do you know how many square feet that is approximately, or square meters
do you
or
remember?
hectares? It's
No,
big.
yes, I can't. I have it. We have it in some presentation.
No problem.
I can't
Send
remember the exact.
send it to me and I'll put it in our notes, okay?
It were are 900 panels, but I can't remember the surface covered.
We'll get the surface in the notes, so no problem, okay? Okay, so sustainability. Now, I want to move into, I loved seeing your sustainability reports for 2020. And I think what a lot of people don't get, and when I say don't get, I don't mean that they're not paying attention, but most people don't do them. And in doing them, you've created this complete transparency. So there are no secrets, or if there are some, they're very little, and they're between the lines. How well, when did you start doing these? And again, knowing that sustainability is part of your company's DNA, um, the impetus struck you that, we have to do this for the public. Was that the thought process?
No, it was we released our first report in 2018. It was according to degree, of course, and the objective was just to show all the things that we were doing. We're doing a lot of things, and we communicated them in different ways, but we found in the report a way to for anyone who wants, our employees, our stakeholders, or to show, okay, this is who we are in all our magnitude, and this is our compromise. Something quite similar with the B Corp. Start doing this kind of things. It makes a compromise deeper because once you start, you can't stop.
No.
And that's what we were talking about, this continued improvement. Once we start with the report, now we have just make a little change that we are going to start reporting 2 years, not every year, because it was a lot of work.
Yes.
And this is a kind of industry that doesn't change that fast. So we are going to start doing it twice. Now we are developing the one 2021, 2022, but it's something that we are going to keep doing because we have nothing to hide, as you mentioned.
I love
There are
that.
things that,
No,
of course, we have improved in many things. In others, we maybe would like to have a biggest improvement than the one we have, but we want to show who we are.
no greenwashing here.
No, of course not.
Tell me
It's
a little bit about the impacts that this has had, because I'm thinking from not only from a competition standpoint, other wineries like looking at it and saying, wow, look what they're doing. Maybe we should do it too. But I'm also thinking about the consumer side and the consumer going, this is really interesting. Why is nobody else telling me what they're using and what their carbon footprint and impact on the environment is? So maybe first speak to the competition and then to the consumer impact, if you would.
Yes, the competition, I think the idea of these kind of things is also to inspire. the competition. And especially here in Argentina, uh, many wineries are making a very good job. And if they see that it has a good impact to make this kind of reports or certification, we're going to inspire them. And we are going to also grow as a country uh, wine industry. That is
I
quite
love
important for us.
that's beautiful.
So we try to do that, and also to share good practices, and to show this, okay, you can do all the things, or maybe many things that you are already doing. You are not conscious enough to understand which is the globe, or in sustainability, where does the impact really go of what you are doing. And for the consumers or other ones that are not the competition, I think that it's quite weird that someone comes to read all the report because it's quite long. But I think that if someone has, for example, see this video and say, okay, and although we were not talking about the report punctually, but let's listen, okay, Trivento has these solar panels and make this with irrigation and has this social investment. And maybe knowing that there is a report, it's good just to, okay, this is what I'm interested in. I go to the report, I see this topic, and maybe I don't read all the report, but I have a place to see what these people is talking about. Because it's
Absolutely.
not, is that you're like talking and talking, and with this you have where to go and go deeper. And also, if you want to ask something, you can contact us, and we are going to give you more and more information. So it's a place to go in order to know more.
So you're providing education and insight as well, which is really beautiful. Again, not only to the competition, but to the consumers. And I think the consumers are just starting to understand how their voice can have an impact on how producers handle their growing practices, their energy practices, and their carbon footprint.
I think we have to educate also the consumers in order to what they have to look when they buy, in this case, a wine, because you have to look, of course, to have a very good product and to enjoy the product, but you also have to start asking what is behind the product, what is behind the people beside the product, what happens with the environment, what's the commitment of the company
Let's
that produced that product.
Yes, absolutely. Without question. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the label because I'll take a side step away from the away from my questioning, but point to the label in that first I want to commend you all on the 92 points from Tim Atkins. We just
Yeah.
posted an Instagram about that on my account. And then it's a number one winery in Argentina or Maipo for sure, right?
Sorry, can you repeat?
This what does this number one stand for?
Now it's the Argentinian brand most sell in the
Most
United Kingdom.
Okay, understood. Got it. And that's why it's side by side with Tim Atkin, who's from the United Kingdom. Okay, so if I'm a consumer and I want to buy something that is sustainable or earth friendly, am I looking to the front of this label or the back of the label?
In the front of the label, and that was another sustainability improvement. You have the QR there, and you can scan the QR, and you are going to have a lot of information about the wine and also about the sustainability practices that we are carrying out here in the winery.
Okay.
And with that QR, we have also reduced a lot of materials that we used to put with the product in order to communicate. So we are saving a lot of cardboard
Thank you.
having that QR. It's our wine compass, it's called.
Beautiful. Now, there are also indications that you may be earth friendly on the back. Tell us about these certifications.
Yes, we are vegan because we don't use any animal. dry goods
I know.
in any part of the process,
Great.
and we are B Corp.
Beautiful. So those are two things that everybody can, or three things that everybody can look for on the bottles of Trivento. And I encourage you as a consumer, if you're out there listening right now, to ask your wineries to put these things on their bottle because you have a right to know what you're buying. Okay, so let's go back to, let's see. Uh, how are you measuring the impact of your business on the stakeholders, including employees, customers, suppliers, and of course the environment?
Okay. For environment, it's more easy because we have different certification. We are also the ISO 14001 certified. So that's another tool that help us to, first of all, understand which is our impact and also measure it and have this improvement goal. And the social impact, it's more difficult to measure, actually. What
Understood.
we have said is we have set different goals, for example, in order to the well-being of our employees, and in that way we have different policies, and we have also surveys to understand if they are uh, comfortable with the company and they really appreciate the practices that we are carrying out. And with the stakeholders, what we do is um, to ask in as many places that we can in what they are thinking about Trivento, and what they that is like make the material analysis of the company that is part of the reports, in order to understand if we are seeing the same things that they are seeing and if our actions are according to that.
Excellent, excellent. What are some of the biggest challenges that you've faced in becoming a B Corp, and how have you overcome the challenges?
As I mentioned, maybe the main challenge was to put in order all the things that we were doing and to communicate the goals, to understand if those goals were according what a B Corp certification a B Corp must have. And of course, we have to do some improvements. It's not that we just put everything in order and was just like that. But maybe that was the main challenge. We had a lot of things going on, and just put it in the box that it should go, and to see, okay, we are doing this practice. For example, we are giving scholarships to our employees, to their children, and also to the community. Okay, what does the impact of that, which should be the goals in the future in order to have a better pointation in the B Corp, and to maintain this constant improvement. Or, for example, we start having a closer relation with the schools nearby the winery, because when we did the, the evaluation, we understand that in that point we should go with something stronger, and we have been having a lot of we are more close to them. They're coming with their children to the winery to know about the process, because here in Mendoza the wine industry is quite important, and it's part of what they have to learn in school. And we understood that maybe welcoming them here in the winery and explain the process from another point of view than a book, it was quite important for them. So we started looking those kind of things. We knew we had a very strong strategy, sustainability strategy, but this of being B Corp just show us some spaces in which we could do something else, and that is what we have been doing.
I love that. I love the fact, I mean, right now we have programs like the WSET and things like that, but that's after school. right? That's after you graduated university that you start to learn about those things. But to bring people into this important process in your community, and
Uh,
educate them on this is a great piece of the economy for Argentina in particular, but also California. It's an important industry to be aware of and to know.
yeah. And also we talk a lot of with they when they come about also the job opportunities when they become older, and we talk about wine in moderation because it's quite important for them to understand the wine industry, that is the wine is something to be to degustate, not to have sorry, I can't find a word, but to really enjoy the product in the way that it has seen think by the knowledges, and to understand that it's a very novel product, but it's alcohol also. So for us, it's very important that all Mendocinians be aware of this wine in moderation program. So we adapt, of course, what we are telling to them according to their age, but it's another moment for us also to communicate and to educate in this aspect. And also when they come, we talk to them about sustainability because they are young, and it's important for them to understand that the main industry in Mendoza, is also conscious about their impact. So it's a very good action, and they are very interested in. So we enjoy being closer with the community.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Okay, in your opinion, what are some of the most innovative aspects of sustainability practiced by Trivento? Or what things do you have coming down the pipeline?
Yes, I think that maybe more than innovation, because if we're going to talk about, I don't know, solar panels, it's not maybe an innovation, but we have been pioneer here in the wine industry in Mendoza, in our context, that is different to other contexts. So we have, as I mentioned, we have the biggest solar plant in the wine industry in Mendoza. We were the first one of having a report. We were the first industry that opened a classroom for their employees to finish their education, not only in the wine industry but also in the industry in Mendoza. We were the first one, and actually we find that like our first step in sustainability. It was to open this classroom because there had been a lot of changes here in the winery, and when we knew we need our employees to be to have different skills, and we decided to give them the opportunity to get those skills here in the winery, because many of them haven't finished their primary or secondary school, and
Wow.
we
And so you're
opened
helping
this.
with that journey.
Yes,
Uh,
instead of saying, okay, we have to dismiss, I don't know, 15 persons and hire 15 new person that has already finished their education, we decided to go in this path with them, and to motivate them, because it is not easy, because they have to keep working. We just change the schedules and a lot of things, but they have to work and then at the same time finish their school. So there are also some mentors here in the winery in order to keep them motivated. But that's we were also pioneers in that, and that's our commitment with people and their well-being. And also it's quite important for them, but it's very, very important for their families and their children, because these people that is working and finishing their studies, and they have maybe 55 years or something like that, are also inspiring others in how things can always be improved.
Absolutely. And you mentioned, you said it's really not really innovation, but it is innovation because your region, you're shining a light, first of all, on your region for others to see, but also for others to see within your region. and to help people along that path of their career, working with the people that you already know are great contributors to the company and helping them with their education. That is absolutely fascinating. Mercedes, I want to thank you for joining us today, and I do hope you'll come back and keep us posted on upcoming things and developments as you folks grow and innovate. It's been such a pleasure to speak with you.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for having this kind of spaces in order to talk about sustainability. That it's very important for everyone to understand what we are doing and the impact and the powerful that the consumers can be also in this.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, take care, and again, thank you, and I do hope you return soon.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope
Thank you.
so. Bye.
Bye-bye.